Hi, this is Gaurav Dave. As you all must be aware, the CUET notification or announcement is out yesterday night, and obviously, all of you must be curious to know what is the paper pattern, what are the important dates, and all the other important information around the test. So, in this video, we will try and bring some of this information to you, the key features, and 3 to 4 major changes that have happened in the test. So, let's first try and understand what the important dates are. So, as you know, the submission of the application form has technically begun yesterday night, but for all practical purposes, we can treat it from today. So, from today right up to 12th March 2023, up to 9 p.m. is when you have to fill up and submit the application form online and only online. There is no other mode of submission. Okay, what about the fees? So here you have a little more leeway in terms of time. You have another 3 hours. You can submit the fees up to 11:50 p.m. on the same day. However, I would strongly recommend that you do not keep both these activities for 12th March. We will discuss this in far more detail when we have a look at the form filling video. Okay. Now, what happens if you've submitted the form and you want to make some changes? You want to change a test city or you want to change your mark somewhere. So, there is a correction window, which means that for 4 days, right up from 15th March to 18th March, you will be able to make certain changes as specified by the NTA authorities. The deadline for this again is 18th March, 11:50 p.m. Once that is done, then nearly 3 weeks before the exam, that is on 30th April, you will get your exam city, which helps you make your travel preparations. The actual admit card, which gives you details about your exam slot, the center, the timings, will be released much later, around the second week of May. Now, after the exam is done and dusted, you get your response sheet. What is a response sheet? It will show you the answers that you have marked along with the answer key. This will be available typically for 2 to 3 days. So you can check that, challenge any of the answers if you want. That's a discussion for much later. The dates for this have not yet been announced, but you need to know that this step is important in the entire process. Finally, you will have the declaration of your result on the NTA website. Again, the dates are not out. There are 2 important websites that you need to keep tracking from now on right up to your results. One is the NTA website, which is nta.ac.in, which will keep giving you details about the exam, admit card, result, etc. etc. And the other is the CUET Samarth website, which will have a lot more details on the program which you want to apply to in respective universities. Okay, so having looked at the dates, now let's have a look at the key features along with a few important changes. So first, the exam, like last year, will be conducted in the computer-based test mode, that is the CBT mode, which means you see all the questions online or on a computer, you mark them on that same machine. The test is objective with multiple choice questions. For a lot of you up to your 12th standard, you may not have encountered an MCQ based test. You may have written subjective answers. Here you have a question with 3, 4, 5, whatever number of options. CUET has 4 and you mark the correct answer. So that's a computer based MCQ based test. What is important and one of the big changes this year is that you can select a maximum of 10 subjects. Last year the number was lower. The implications again we will discuss when we discuss form filling. Okay, how do you select the subjects? That depends on which program do you want to apply. So for example, if you're interested in an accountancy honors program in DU, then there will be a specific list of subjects that you need to target. But how do you know that? That will be given by DU on its website. It is also given on the CUET Samarth website. So you should be tracking both of them for all the programs that you are interested in. Okay. Another very important change this year is that the exam will be conducted in 3 shifts instead of 2, which means last year you had 2 slots in which you sat for the exam, a morning slot and then an afternoon slot which could go up to 225 minutes, which is nearly 4 hours. This time around there are 3 slots. What is the timing of the slots? What is the duration of the slots? This has not been announced. One small hint that has come is that the notification says people with disabilities will get 20 minutes extra per hour slot of test. So we can presume that the test will be of 1 hour each. However, this is not a guarantee, so we should wait for the announcement before we jump to conclusions. Okay, once the results etc. out, your individual merit lists will be announced by respective universities. This is neither the job of the NTA or of CUET Samarth. You can see the relevant email and phone number here where you can connect in case you have any queries or doubts. Okay, now let's have a look at the actual test, the structure of the test. This is very interesting. The CUET exam is divided into 3 parts. Section 1, which is languages, of course that is further subdivided into 2 parts, but section 1 languages, section 2 domain, what is that? We'll see soon, and section 3 general test. Okay, so what about languages? As you can see, languages are divided into 2 parts. Section 1A, which is 13 languages, English, Hindi, Marathi, Gujarati, Bengali, etc. Now, how is this different from the 13 languages in which the test is to be conducted? When you say that the test will be conducted in 13 languages, you can take the test in Hindi or Marathi or Bengali. The questions will appear in that language. Whereas, if you choose Hindi as a language here or Bengali as a language here, then you will be tested on the Bengali language. Understand the difference between the two. Similarly, you have 20 other languages in section 1B. The whole list of these 33 languages is given in the notification document. You should study it very carefully. Okay, what is the structure here? Each language, suppose you select English, which is the most commonly selected language. Each test in English will have 50 questions. You are expected to attempt 40. The second section and the most important one for me is domain. What is domain? Domain is the list of all those subjects that you would be studying in your boards. So there are 27 such subjects. Based on your stream, let's say you're a science student, then it could be maths, physics, chemistry, bio. If you are a commerce student, it could be accountancy, economics, management studies, etc. For arts, it could be history, geography, philosophy, etc. So depending on what you are currently studying and the programs that you want to apply to, you will need to select the right subject combination. How do you do that? We will explain in greater detail in the form filling video. You could also refer to our subject selector tool, which will help you select those subjects based on the university and program that you are applying to. We will share the link for this tool in the details of this video later. Okay, there is a very important change here in the domain tests. What is this change? Last year, the total number of questions in the test were 50. So suppose you were taking a history test, there were 50 questions, you had to attempt 40. This time round, there can be 45 questions or 50 questions, and you will need to attempt either 35 or 40. However, we have not been told which subjects will have 35 questions, which subjects will have 40 questions. So that is something, again, we will have to wait and watch. Coming to the last test, which is general test. This is basically an aptitude, you can call it an IQ test, you can call it an aptitude test. It tests basic mathematics, reasoning, general knowledge, etc. We will be discussing this test in far greater detail in a separate video. This is not required for a number of programs, but wherever it is, it becomes a mandatory test to be taken. Another big change is in this paper pattern year. Last year, this was a 75 question test with 60 to be attempted. This year, the number of questions has dropped from 75 to 60. The number of questions to be attempted has dropped from 60 to 50. So that is something you need to keep in mind. Okay. Now let's come to one other big change, which is the fee structure. If you see this point that I've written here, last year the fees that you paid were slot wise, which means that if you took any test in slot 1, you paid a fixed amount. You took any test in slot 2, you paid another fixed amount. And you took both the slots, there was a combined amount. This time round, it is based on the number of subjects, which means if you are attempting only 3 subjects or up to 3 subjects and you are a general category student, you will end up paying only 750. But suppose you decide to attempt 4, 5, 6 or 7 subjects, then up to 7 subjects you will end up paying 1500. And you say, no, I want to attempt 10 or 9 or whatever, then it is 1750. You have similar numbers or you have a similar structure with a slightly lower fee if you are an OBC candidate belonging to the non-creamy layer or you belong to the economically weaker section. The fee reduces further to 650, 1300 and so on if you belong to SC, ST or you are a person with disabilities or a third gender candidate. If you are taking centers outside India, obviously there is a separate fee structure. So you need to keep this point in mind when you are applying or filling up your form. Finally, we come to the bit on registration, because we've been talking about filling the form, applying, etc. So how do we do that? The link for registration is this one that you see in front of you. That's cuet.summit.ac.in. index PHP, and that's that entire link where you will get all the details about how you register. Okay, what are the steps? Firstly, download the information bulletin, very important. Read it thoroughly. Then go on to register. That is, create your application number, select a password, the security question. These are your credentials. And then go on to fill your application form, make the payment. That is where your application for CUET gets completed. Over the course of the next few days and weeks, we will be coming up with a lot more content in order to help you prepare for CUET, starting with a form filling video very soon, and then videos on specific exams like the general test, language tests, domains, etc. and a lot more. So keep watching this space. We will soon be also sharing the links for our Instagram channel and our YouTube channel. Please subscribe to them as well. Thank you.